Gemara tells us in Sanhedrin that Paro had 3 advisors. One of his advisors was Bilam Harosha, and he is the one who advised Paro to enslave the Jews, and this is how he would control the population explosion, and by working them at this rate, they will not be able to procreate, and ultimately they will disappear. And they increase the workload continuously. And the Torah refers to it as avodas perech. It was work that actually was backbreaking work, which caused them to literally, it was an unsurvivable situation. So the Torah tells us, Kashe yanu also ken yirbe v'chen yifrotz. As they afflicted them, they continues to create, to increase, and to become explosive in number. So Rashi cites Chazal, Kashe yanu also, b'chol mashe nosim leiv la'anos, as they considered afflicting them, and they were plotting to afflict them, even before they actually implemented it, God already was planning to increase their numbers at this unlimited rate. As they were planning to afflict us, God already was planning to increase our number. What does one thing have to do with another? Say, when they afflicted us, our rate started to increase, because the whole idea was what? To destroy us. So he says, despite your intention, it's not going to happen. There's a question which is asked, if we were supposed to remain in Egypt for 400 years, this was the Bris Bein Absorim, factually we were there only 210 years. We were not there 400 years. So there are 2 answers given by Chazal. Either we begin calculating 400 years from the birth of Yitzchok, or that because they intensified the bondage, so if it would have been just servitude or normal slavery, it would have been 400 years. But because they increased the workload and it was intensified in terms of affliction, so the 210 years was the equivalent of the 400 years. It's the other answer, which is given by Chazal. There's a question which is asked by Reina Bachya. The most special family that ever existed in Klal Yisrael was Yaakov's family, the Yud Bei Shvatim. Why wasn't the Torah given to Yaakov Abanov? Yaakov's family should have received the Torah. Although they fulfilled the Torah, their level of fulfillment was Eina Mitzuvosa. They were not commanded. Although they weren't commanded, they observed the Torah its entirety. They should have been given the Torah as we were given at Sinai. They should have been given and should have been Mitzuvosa. They would have been commanded. Gola Mitzuvosa, B'Sheina Mitzuvosa. One who fulfills the mitzvah in an obligated state has greater value than in a not obligated state. So Rabbeinu Bachya explains that the Torah can only be given within a context of Shishim Ribo Gvorim L'Malim Michof. You need a critical mass of Jews, 600,000 men above the age of 20. And because that was not the case, therefore only at Sinai we were 600,000 men, and the Torah makes this point, above the age of 20. Therefore that's the setting for the giving of Torah at Sinai. The Maral explains why that's the critical number, 600,000. But factually, when we left Egypt, the objective of Mi'avdus L'Cherus was to go to Sinai, to become the Am Hashem, to receive the Torah. So the number 600,000 men above the age of 20 was a critical number. And that was a prerequisite. We know the Torah tells us only 20% of the Jews left Egypt. 80% died during the days of darkness. So how many Jews did you need to procreate and come to existence to have 20% of that number? There's 600,000 men above the age of 20. You need tremendous amounts of Jews, numbers of people. And the more they afflicted him, the quicker the end of the bondage was coming. Because the intensity of the bondage shortened the stay. Initially, as we said, it was supposed to be 400. We were there 210. So when they were plotting and contemplated to afflict us, to intensify the bondage, Hashem already was planning to increase our numbers, because the calendar date was critical. Because if we reach that date and we're not at that number, we have 600,000 Jews above the age of 20, we can't have Kabbalah Torah. Therefore, we had to leave at a certain moment from Egypt. And at that moment, we had to have that critical number. Therefore, as they planned and plotted to afflict us, Hashem already was planning to increase our number.